Is your dog fat? Possibly. Believe me, I know it's easy enough to let your pooch pack on the pounds, slip them some table scraps, and keep their food bowl constantly filled. But just because they beg and just because they look all fat and happy, that hardly means that they are healthy. But it's up to you to get them in shape. That's why we've brought in Dr. Ernie Ward as part of our My Pet series, a veterinarian and renowned author on the topic of pet obesity. Dr. Ward, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
Now, we were talking when we were, getting ready this morning. I have a Chihuahua, 13 years old, 13 pounds. He looks like a big fat tick. It's not very good to have a fat pet, is it?
It's not, and you're not alone. In fact, right now, over half of the dogs and cats in the country are overweight or obese, just like your little tick Chihuahua.
My little tick Chihuahua. Yeah. Well, one thing I want to know, I try to make excuses and say, well, Paco, that's my dog, he has a little waistline. How do we know if they're actually fat or if they're just big boned? Right,
and Paco's a good example. The first thing I tell pet owners to do is can you feel their ribs easily? And by easily, if you're digging through a mound of jelly, they're too fat. So you should be able to lightly go down and count those ribs. Second thing you do, take your Paco, take your cat, stand it up, look at it from the side. If their big belly is hanging down, dragging the floor, we call them Swiffer cats because they're always constantly cleaning. But if you see that sagging belly, that's another indication your pet needs help.
They need help. Now, you are an expert on this topic. I want to talk about your book. Your book is called Chow Hounds, Why Our Dogs Are Getting Fatter, a Vet's Plan to Save Their Lives. There are questions right there in the title. Why are our dogs getting fatter?
Yeah, and it's the same issue that we're facing on the human side, why we're getting heavy. Number one, we're eating too much, we're not exercising enough, and then of course we give ourselves dessert 20 times a day. I mean, think about it. Paco, when he goes out and does his business, he may get a little treat.
Yep.
And in fact, these treats are so laden with sugar and fat, I call them kibble crack, because they're literally creating legions of little food addicts, and they've got to have that fixed. And for us, we're killing them with our kindness.
Really? So this is just like the fast food problem with people. We're getting addicted to foods that are bad for us.
Unfortunately, it's the same.
Now, in your book, you actually talk about what we can do to help get these pounds off of our dogs. What are some simple things we can do to help shed the pounds?
Yeah, the most important tool a pet owner can have in keeping their pet lean is a measuring cup.
Really?
Too often people don't know how much they're feeding their pet. I mean, they just go, well, it's about this much, or I feed about a cup. We need to know exactly how much. And that, of course, comes with, we need to know how many calories. So it's hard to find the calories on some of these products, but you need to see how many calories you should be feeding your pet per day. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. Second of all, get out there and exercise. And a lot of times clients go, my pet's too old, he's slowing down, he just doesn't want to walk anymore, so I can't exercise him. But I'll tell you, you've got to get out there and move this dog or this cat, or it's not going to ever lose weight.
So they may not be moving, not because they're old or tired. It really may be that they actually are experiencing pain because of joint
pain.
Problems.
It may be due to the weight or age or whatever. And this is an important part of this whole process of getting your pet healthier. And so for me, if I'm seeing a patient and they're saying he's slowing down or can't go for walks, I'm going to say, okay, how can I treat this naturally without a lot of prescription drugs? And so I start to look at nutritional supplements like glucosamine and chondroitin, just like in people.
Yeah.
The ones we like, of course, are dasequin and cosequin. I like omega-3 fatty acids to combat inflammation in that joint that may be causing some pain. I like Welactin, things like that. And it's hard. There's so many supplements out there. It's like, how do you know which one is the best?
Yeah, you're reading my mind. How do you know? Because you hear all these friends of yours say, well, I gave this to my dog and it worked well. You don't know who to trust.
Yeah,
really.
You bet. And it's the same issue for veterinarians. We don't know who to trust. And that is why these brands are the #1 recommended by vets, because we look at who's done the science, who did the testing. And so this is one of the few companies that actually says to third-party testing agencies, test it, please, because when you look at the marketplace, there have been studies that show about 80% of the nutritional supplements out there don't have what they say they have.
Really?
Wasting money.
So you're wasting money. You're giving your dog something that's not giving them the results that they need.
Right. And then you blame the supplement when in fact it was really just a poor or inferior quality product.
It was the product.
Yeah.
So really we're looking for the same things we look for ourselves, the fish oils, the things that are going to make us feel good, make our pets feel good.
You bet. You bet.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun this morning.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate having you here. Now, for our viewers there at home, if you want to find out how to keep your pet from getting fat, check out Chow Hounds by Dr. Ernie Ward. And to learn how supplements can keep your pets moving, visit cosequin.com.